The galaxy was wide and dark, filled with billions of stars, yet in that endless space, one name carried terror. Across worlds, it was not the name of an empire, not the name of a king, not even the name of a weapon. It was the name of a creature, a beast, a monster that should not fear. Planets whispered about it, ships turned away when they heard it was near, whole armies prayed for mercy when its shadow fell upon them. The monster was taller than any machine, stronger than any soldier, faster than any weapon, claws that could cut through steel, eyes that glowed red like burning suns. Its roar could break the courage of the bravest fighter. It had no weakness, or so everyone believed. For years, the alien master who captured it had used this monster as his greatest weapon. With it he crushed cities, broke fleets, and forced kings to bow. He was proud, for he believed he owned fear itself. But tonight something different was happening. The alien master had brought the monster to a hall made of black stone. The walls were carved with the trophies of 100 battles, skulls of fallen enemies, broken flags of defeated nations, and in the middle of the hall stood one figure. Not an army, not a monster, not a machine, but a human. The human stood calm, his hands empty, no armor, no weapon, just two eyes that watched quietly. He did not tremble, he did not run, he did not even blink as the monster entered the hall. The alien master laughed, his voice echoing like metal against stone. Do you see, human? This is the beast that destroyed worlds. This is the terror of the galaxy. Even fire fears it, even death steps aside when it walks, and you are nothing. Just fragile flesh, just a small thing. Yet you dare stand before it. The monster stepped forward, its claws scratching the stone, its roar filled the air. The hall shook as if a storm had entered. The alien master smiled, waiting for the human to scream, waiting for the human to kneel, waiting for fear to break him. But the human did not move. He stood like a shadow that could not be pushed, like a mountain that could not be shaken. His silence was heavy, heavier than the roar of the monster. And then something happened, something that no one had seen before. The monster paused, its red eyes narrowed, its claws stopped scratching the ground. Its roar died inside its throat. It took one step back. The alien master froze, his smile broken, his breath caught in his chest. Never had the beast stepped back, never had it shown weakness, never had it feared. But now, in front of one human, it trembled. The hall grew silent. Soldiers watching from the shadows whispered in disbelief. This was not possible. How could they? Galaxy's greatest terror show fear. And fear of what? A simple human with no weapon, no shield, no power. The alien master shouted in anger, "Move, beast! Kill him, crush him, tear him apart." But the monster only growled, its body shaking as if invisible chains pulled it back. It looked at the human the way prey looks at a predator. The human finally spoke, his voice calm, steady, soft but sharper than any blade. "And why do you laugh, alien? Your monster already knows the truth. It knows what you do not. It knows what you refuse to see." The alien master felt his skin crawl. For the first time in years, he felt something he thought he had killed inside himself, fear. He stared at the human, trying to understand, trying to see what was hidden inside those calm eyes. The human did not move closer, did not raise his voice, did not show anger. Yet the hall felt colder, darker. The soldiers felt as if they were standing on the edge of a cliff. One more word, and they would fall. The alien master whispered, "Why does it fear you, human? Tell me, what are you?" The human's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. A smile that was not joy, not pride, but something deeper, something that made the monster growl again and lower its head. "I am human," he said, "and that is enough." The alien master's heart pounded. He had crushed empires. He had captured the monster that no one else could control, but in front of this one calm human, he felt small, smaller than he had ever felt before. The silence grew heavy again, broken only by the monster's breathing, slow and afraid. The alien master could not accept it. He shouted again, his voice shaking, "No. This is impossible. Nothing can break the beast, nothing can make it bow." Yet the truth was before him. The monster that should not fear, feared, and not only did it fear, it obeyed the silence of one human more than the orders of its master. The soldiers stepped back, some even dropping their weapons, because they understood something their master did not. Monsters could be chained, monsters could be beaten, but when a monster feared a man, then that man was no ordinary creature. The alien master clenched his fists, his pride bleeding into rage, but inside he knew the truth. Tonight he had seen something greater than his monster, something older than fear, something that could not be broken. And as the human stood calm, unshaken, the alien master whispered in his own mind, "Even my alien monster fears you, human, but you never flinched." The alien master sat in silence, his claws tapping the stone of his throne. He had seen the monster crush fleets. He had seen it break war machines like toys. He had seen it drink fire and walk through storms, but never had he seen it step back. Never had he seen it bow its head. Never had he seen it afraid. The soldiers whispered in the shadows, afraid to speak too loud. They had marched behind the monster many times. They had seen its claws tear cities apart, but now their eyes shifted between the trembling beast and the calm human, and deep inside their hearts they felt the same thing, a quiet fear. The alien master leaned forward, his eyes glowing, his voice heavy with confusion. "Do you know what this beast is, human? Do you know the blood spilled to capture it? Do you know the empires that burned because of it?" The human did not answer. He only looked at the monster with calm eyes. The silence cut deeper than any reply. The alien master's memory burned with pride and pain. He remembered the day he found the monster, a planet of storms, a world where even light feared to enter, the skies torn open with lightning, the seas filled with boiling waves. His fleets had landed with courage, but courage died quickly. The monster had come from the black fog, larger than ships, claws shining with the blood of his warriors. His soldiers had screamed, their weapons useless. Ships fell from the sky like broken birds. Whole squads vanished under the monster's shadow. 3 fleets were lost before he cornered it. 3 fleets of his best soldiers burned away like dust, but he had not stopped. He had sacrificed thousands. He had given oceans of blood until at last the beast was chained, beaten with weapons older than memory, weapons built to break gods. And now, years later, after all the deaths, all the power, all the victories, the beast feared one human. The alien master growled, his voice sharp like broken glass. "I brought it from the black world. I crushed it into chains. I made it kneel before me. I made it serve me. And now before you it trembles. Tell me why." The human's lips Moved slightly, not a smile, not a frown, just calm. You captured its body, but not its soul. The words cut the alien master deeper than blades. He remembered the beast's eyes on that storm world, eyes that never bent, eyes that never feared, even when his fleets died, even when his weapons burned its flesh. The beast never bowed, and yet now those same eyes looked down in front of the human. The alien master shook his head. No, no, this is a trick. You are nothing. Your kind is weak, small, fragile. You cannot break the unbroken. The human's voice came again, soft but sharp. Then why is it broken? The monster growled low, a sound of fear and respect. It stepped closer to the human, but did not attack. Its giant head lowered slightly. Its claws tapped the ground like it was restless, waiting. The soldiers could not believe it. Some held their breath, others dropped their weapons without thinking. If the monster refused its master's command, then what power did the human hold? The alien master stood from his throne, his voice shaking with anger. Do you think you can take it from me? Do you think you can steal my weapon? This beast obeys only me. It is mine, my victory, my fear, my empire. The human finally raised his eyes to the alien master, and in that moment the hall seemed colder, the air heavier, even the flames in the torches bent low as if listening. You never owned it, the human said. You only chained it, and chains are weaker than fear. The alien master felt his chest tighten. He tried to laugh, but the sound cracked. He looked at the monster again, and he saw it. Yes, the beast was chained in body, but its spirit had already chosen. Its spirit bowed not to him, but to the human. Rage burned inside him, but behind the rage was something worse, something he hated, something he had forgotten long ago. Fear. The alien master whispered to himself. What are you, human? Why does even my monster fear you? The human did not answer. His silence was the answer. The alien master remembered the blood of thousands, the burning skies, the endless war, all for this beast. Yet in front of him now the human stood calm, unshaken, and the beast obeyed. He clenched his claws. His empire could fall if this human was allowed to live, if soldiers believed the beast had chosen another master. His enemies would rise, his armies would break, and yet, as he looked into the human's eyes, he knew killing him would not be so easy. He could order the monster, but the monster would not obey. He could order the soldiers, but their hands shook. He could order the death of the human, but death itself seemed to hesitate. The alien master sat back down, his voice low, filled with both anger and fear. This is not the end, human. This is only the beginning. But inside he already knew the truth. Something had started that he could not stop. The beast he once thought was his greatest victory had betrayed him with silence, and the human had not even raised a hand. The hall was quiet. The monster still lowered its head. The human still stood calm, and in the alien master's mind, one thought grew louder and louder. If my monster fears this human, then perhaps I should too. The alien master could not sleep that night. His throne room was quiet. Yet in his mind, the image of the human would not leave. The calm face, the steady eyes, the silence that made even the monster tremble. It haunted him like a shadow. He told himself again and again that it was impossible. He had seen the monster rip through armies. He had seen it crush war machines and silence the screams of entire worlds. Nothing could shake it. Nothing could make it step back, and yet one human with no weapon had done it. The alien master's pride burned. He could not let this stand. He would not let fear control him. He decided there was only one way to know the truth. He had to test the human. At dawn he called his soldiers, their eyes heavy with doubt after what they had seen. Still they obeyed. The monster was brought into the hall once more, chains clinking like thunder against the stone, its breath hot, its claws restless. The human was already there, standing in the center of the hall. He had not left all night, his posture calm, his face unreadable. He did not look tired. He did not look afraid. The alien master's voice echoed sharp and cold. Today we end the trick. Today the truth will be clear. If you are nothing, the beast will crush you. If you are something more than, let the galaxy see it. He raised his clawed hand and snapped his fingers. The chains fell from the monster's body, iron crashing against stone. The soldier stepped back in fear. Free of its bonds, the beast roared, sound like storms tearing mountains apart. The alien master smiled. Kill him, he ordered. The monster lowered itself, muscles tight, claws digging into the ground. Its roar shook dust from the ceiling. It charged forward like a falling star. The air cracked under its speed. The soldiers gasped. Some turned their eyes away, but the human did not move. He stood still, calm, his eyes fixed on the beast, his breathing slow. The monster raised its claws. One strike would tear him apart. The alien master leaned forward, waiting for blood, waiting for victory, waiting for proof that the human was only flesh. And then, in the heartbeat before the strike, the monster froze, its claws inches from the human's head. The ground cracked beneath its weight, but it could not move forward. The soldiers gasped. One dropped his weapon. The alien master's smile fell from his face. The monster's body shook, sweat and steam rising from its skin. Its red eyes locked on the human, wide, filled not with rage but with fear. The hall was silent. The only sound was the beast's heavy breathing and the calm voice of the human. You see, it cannot touch me. The alien master roared in anger. No, again he shouted. Attack, tear him apart. The monster tried to move, but every step forward turned into a step back. Its claws scratched the stone. Sparks flew. Its roar cracked into a whimper. It lowered its head as if bowing. The alien master's rage grew. He pointed at the human, his voice shaking. What are you? What magic do you use? Tell me. The human raised his eyes. Slowly, his voice calm. No magic, no trick, no spell, only truth. The alien master snarled, lies. But deep in his heart he knew it was not. He could see it in the soldiers' faces. He could see it in the monster's trembling form. This was not weakness of the beast. It was recognition, something older than chains, something stronger than weapons. The human took one slow step forward. The monster moved back without hesitation, its giant body shaking with every step. It looked as if the human was the predator and it was the prey. The soldiers whispered among themselves, their voices filled with disbelief. He commands it, one said, without chains. Another whispered, without fear. The alien master shouted at them, silence. He is nothing, he is just a man. But no one believed him now, not even himself. The human finally spoke again, his words cutting the silence like a blade. You believe you own it, but monsters do not obey masters. They obey fear, and it does not fear you anymore. the alien. Master's chest tightened, his claws shook. His empire was built on fear, but what if fear itself had betrayed him? What if the monster chose another? He pointed at the human, his voice breaking. You will not leave this hall alive. The human tilted his head slightly, his eyes calm. That is not your choice, the monster growled, lowering itself between the human and its master, its massive body forming a shield. It bared its fangs, but not at the human, at the alien master. The soldiers stepped back further, some too afraid to even breathe. The world had turned upside down. The beast no longer served its master. The alien master could not understand. Rage and fear twisted inside him. He had chained the beast with blood and iron. He had broken its body. He had made it his weapon, but now it bowed to human who had done nothing but stand in silence. The alien master whispered in his own mind, even my alien monster fears you, human, but you never flinched. And for the first time, the master of fear felt like the weakest creature in his own hall. The alien master sat frozen on his throne, his claws gripping the armrest so hard that cracks spread through the stone. His monster, his greatest weapon now, stood not at his command, but at the side of the human, its body tense, its growl deep, its red eyes locked not on its prey but on its former master. The soldiers could not believe what they were seeing. Many of them stepped back, their spears shaking in their hands. For years they had marched behind the beast, trusting its power to crush any enemy. But tonight they saw it bow in fear, not to their master but to a fragile human who had never lifted a blade. The alien master's voice broke the silence, low, harsh and trembling. What are you, human? What trick makes my monster tremble before you? The human stood calm, his eyes fixed on the beast, as though speaking not to the master but to the monster itself. There is no trick, he said, his voice quiet. Monsters do not fear strength, they fear what they cannot understand. The alien master leaned forward, his face twisting with rage. Lies. I brought it from the storm world. I bled armies to capture it. I forged chains from the core of dying stars. I made it kneel before me. The human turned his head slowly toward the master, his voice steady. You never made it kneel. You only broke its body. But inside it never bowed, until now. The alien master's chest tightened. Those words cut deeper than blades. He remembered the storm world. He remembered the endless fight, the rivers of blood, the fire that consumed his fleets. Even then the beast's eyes were unbroken, fearless, but tonight those same eyes lowered before a human. The soldiers began to whisper again, their voices restless. Why does it fear him? One muttered, what power does he have? Another asked. The fear spread like fire in dry grass, and the alien master knew if he lost control here, his empire might crumble. He stood tall, forcing his voice to rise above the whispers. You call yourself dangerous, but you are just the man. I have seen your kind. Weak bones, soft skin, short lives. Nothing compared to the strength of my people, nothing compared to the monster. The human's eyes sharpened, his voice calm but heavy. You see weakness, but you do not see the truth. On Earth, my world, survival was born in fire. Predators far worse than this beast walked our lands, creatures with claws, fangs, venom, storms that swallowed villages, skies that rained fire. We learned to live, not because we were strong, but because we never broke. We Never bowed, the hall grew still. The soldiers listened, their eyes wide. The alien master's breath caught in his throat. The human continued, his voice low, almost a whisper, but each word cut through the silence like thunder. Your monster sees that it knows, it feels what you cannot. It knows humans have faced worse, and still we endure. We rise, we fight. That is what it fears. Not my body, not my strength, but the truth that nothing can break us. The alien master felt the weight of those words pressing against him, like the walls of the hall were closing in. He looked at the beast again, and he saw it. Yes, it was true. The monster's fear was not of flesh but of spirit. His claws trembled as he whispered, "Then humans are not prey." The human's eyes glowed with quiet fire. "No, we are hunters who survived as prey. We are survivors who turned pain into strength. We are what monsters fear when the night is quiet." The monster lowered its head even further, its growl now softer, almost a sound of respect. The soldiers stepped back more, some even bowed without knowing why. The hall felt heavier, darker, as if the truth itself had stepped inside. The alien master tried to hold on to his pride. He raised his voice. "You think this makes you strong? You think words can shake my empire? I command thousands of soldiers. I rule worlds. I hold power that crushes civilizations." The human did not flinch. Power built on fear is fragile. When fear changes sides, your empire falls. Alien master's throat went dry. His heart pounded. He looked into the eyes of the soldiers, and he saw it. They were no longer looking at him with loyalty. They were looking at the human with something else, something dangerous. Belief, rage rose inside him, but beneath it was terror. He slammed his fist into the stone of his throne. "Enough," he roared. "You are just one man. You will not undo me." But the silence that followed betrayed him. The monster did not move. The soldiers did not cheer. The hall itself seemed to listen only to the human's calm breath. The human stepped forward, slow and steady. Each step echoed like a drum. The monster moved aside, not blocking him, but opening the way as if acknowledging him. The alien master could not breathe. He wanted to shout, to order to kill, but no sound came, because deep inside he already knew the truth. The monster he once believed was his greatest weapon had chosen its fear. And that fear was not him, it was the human. And in the quiet of that hall, as soldiers bowed their heads and the beast trembled low, the alien master thought to himself, "Even my alien monster fears you, human. But you never flinched." The alien master's throne room was no longer a place of victory. It had become a place of whispers and doubt. The soldiers who once stood tall now shifted uneasily, their eyes drifting not to their master but to the human, the beast, the terror of worlds, the monster that had crushed empires. No longer looked at its master with obedience. It stood near the human, its breathing slow, its claws scratching the floor in restless silence, as if waiting for a command it would only obey from him. The alien master's pride screamed against the truth. He had built his empire on this creature. He had crushed kings with its claws, burned planets with its roar, forced entire species into chains because of its shadow. And now before his eyes the chains were broken, not by weapons, not by fleets, but by a man who had not lifted a hand. The soldiers could see it too. Their faith wavered. Some gripped their weapons tighter, as if holding on to old loyalty. Others loosened their grips, staring at the human with quiet fear. The alien master rose from his throne, his voice filled with fury. You dare steal from me. You dare break the order of my empire. This monster is mine. I bled to capture it. I forged my name through its power. The human stood calm, his face like stone, his voice low but clear. You never owned it, you only chained it. And chains cannot hold forever, the beast growled. As if answering his words, its body shifted, moving closer to the human, its head lowering. The chains that still wrapped loosely around its neck fell to the ground with a heavy clang. The sound echoed through the hall like the breaking of a kingdom. The alien master's eyes widened, his claws shook. No, no, this is not possible, he whispered, but the truth stood in front of him. The soldiers stepped back, fear in their eyes. One dropped his spear. The sound made the others flinch. None of them dared to pick it up. The alien master roared in desperation, kill him. Kill the human before he takes everything from me. But the soldiers hesitated, their hearts heavy with doubt. They had seen what the monster feared. They had seen how it bowed, and now their courage was broken. Only a handful stepped forward, trembling, blades raised, their eyes wide. They moved not out of loyalty, but out of fear of their master's wrath. The human did not move. He simply stood calm and silent. The monster stepped in front of him, massive body blocking the soldiers. Its roar shook the hall like thunder. The soldiers froze where they stood, unable to take another step. The alien master's chest burned with rage. Obey me, he screamed at the beast. I am your master. Crush him, tear him apart. The beast turned its head slowly, its red eyes locking onto the alien master. And for the first time since its capture, it growled at him. The sound made the soldiers flinch. Even the alien master himself stepped back, his heart hammering, his claws trembling. He had never heard the monster direct its fury at him, never felt its power turned against him. The human's voice broke the silence, steady, calm. It chooses not you. The alien master felt the walls close in. His empire rested on fear, on the power of this beast, and now that power slipped from his grasp. The chains he had forged from stars meant nothing. The loyalty he had forced through blood had vanished. The soldiers began to kneel, not to him but to the human, their eyes lowered, their voices silent. It was not respect, it was survival. They saw where true fear lived, and they chose the side of it. The alien master's rage boiled. He could not allow it. He would not allow it. He raised his blade, a weapon older than his empire, forged to cut through anything glowing with fire. You will not take what is mine, he screamed, his voice shaking with fury and fear. The human's eyes did not blink. He did not step back. He only said, it was never yours. The alien master rushed forward, blade high. The hall echoed with the sound of his roar, but before he could strike, the beast moved. Its claws came down like a storm. The ground cracked. The throne shattered. The alien master was thrown back, his blade flying from his hand. The soldiers gasped. The hall trembled. The beast stood between the human and its former master, its body towering, its eyes burning red, its growl louder than fire. The alien master struggled to rise, his pride bleeding into terror, his empire shaking beneath him. He stared at the beast, and in its eyes he saw no chains, no obedience, only choice, and that choice was against The human placed his hand gently on the beast's claw. The massive creature lowered its head, calm, obedient, not to chained but to respect. The soldiers bowed deeper, fear and awe mixing in their hearts. They whispered among themselves, the beast has a new master. The human commands it, the old order is broken. The alien master felt his world collapse, everything he built with blood and terror crumbled in a single moment of silence, a single moment where fear chose another. He whispered to himself, broken and afraid, even my alien monster fears you, human, but you never flinched. And in that whisper he knew his empire was no longer his. The chains were broken, and with them his reign. The throne room was in ruin, stone broken, chains shattered, torches trembling from the roar that still echoed in the air. The alien master lay on the ground, his blade lost, his pride broken, his soldiers frozen, none daring to move. The monster stood tall, its shadow filling the hall, its eyes glowing red like burning suns. But those eyes were no longer fixed on prey, no longer fixed on conquest. They were fixed on the human who stood calm beneath them. The human had not lifted a weapon, not raised a hand, yet the hall belonged to him now. The monster guarded him, the soldiers bowed to him, and the alien master trembled before him. The alien master forced himself up, his body shaking, his voice filled with rage and fear. You think this is your victory, human? You think you can take my empire? With silence, I have thousands of soldiers, fleets that darken the stars, weapons that burn worlds. You are only one man. The human turned his head slowly, his eyes calm. And yet your monster stands with me. The alien master's breath caught in his throat. Those words cut deep. His empire had lived on fear, and fear itself had betrayed him. The soldiers stepped back further, their whispers spreading like fire. The beast protects him, one said. The master has lost, another muttered. And in their eyes the human was no longer prey. He was something else, something that even monsters respected. The alien master screamed, his voice sharp, do not listen to him. He is nothing. Attack him, kill him. A group of soldiers, trembling, lifted their weapons, their loyalty driven not by belief but by fear of their master. They charged forward with shouts, spears and blades raised. The human did not move. His calm eyes watched them as if watching waves crash against stone. Monster roared louder than thunder. The soldiers stopped mid-charge, fear freezing their legs. Some dropped their weapons, others fell to their knees. The roar shook their courage from their bones. The alien master's face twisted. He shouted louder, fight. Fight or I will have you all executed. But they soldiers looked at each other, their breaths heavy, their eyes uncertain, their courage broken. If their choice was death, they would rather face their master than the beast that bowed to the human. The human finally spoke, his voice steady, clear. You see now, alien, your empire was never built on strength, only on fear. And when fear changes sides, your empire falls. The alien master shook his head, his claws trembling. No, no, I will not lose to you. He staggered back to his throne, grabbing a hidden weapon from its side, a staff glowing with ancient energy, relic of his ancestors, forged to kill even gods. He raised it high, the power cracked through the air like lightning. This will end you, he roared. The soldiers gasped. The air grew heavy. Monster growled, ready to strike, but the human did not flinch, his eyes calm. His voice low, "Try," the alien master hurled the staff forward, the weapon blazed with light, the sound shook the walls, but before it could strike, the monster leapt, claws colliding with the weapon. The hall exploded with sparks and smoke, stone shattered, fire spread. When the smoke cleared, the staff lay broken, its pieces glowing on the floor. The alien master's hand was bleeding, his eyes wide with disbelief. The monster stood firm, unharmed, its growl deeper, and by its side stood the human, untouched, unshaken. The alien master's knees weakened, his breath came fast, his heart filled with something he had long buried, terror. The soldiers no longer hesitated. Many dropped to their knees, others slammed their weapons to the ground, surrender clear in their eyes. They no longer saw their master as a leader, they saw him as a fallen shadow. The human looked at them, his voice calm, "You bow to fear, so choose carefully. Do you bow to the one who has lost it, or to the one who carries it?" The soldiers lowered their heads deeper. One voice whispered, "We bow to the human." Another followed, "The beast has chosen, so we must too." Soon the hall was filled with the sound of surrender. The Empire soldiers kneeling not to their master but to a man. The alien master screamed, his voice cracked, "Traitors, all of you, you will die for this." But his words were weak, empty, his power gone. The humans stepped forward, each step calm, each step heavy. The monster moved with him, towering like a mountain, its shadow covering the hall. The alien master stumbled back, cornered against his shattered throne, his claws scraping the stone, his voice a whisper. "Now why do you not fear me?" Human's eyes locked onto his voice steady, sharp as steel, because fear was never yours to command. The monster lowered its head beside the human, its growl soft, almost like a vow. The soldiers bowed in silence, the torches flickered as if the hall itself acknowledged a new order. The alien master could not breathe, he could not move, he could only whisper the truth that clawed inside him. "Even my alien monster fears you, human, but you never flinched." And in that moment the human stood not as prey, not as weak flesh, but as the embodiment of what monsters dread most, the unbroken spirit. The throne room was heavy with silence. Broken walls, shattered chains, and kneeling soldiers told the story of a fallen empire. The monster stood tall beside the human, its red eyes burning, its body calm, its power no longer chained. The alien master leaned against his broken throne, his body weak, his claws trembling, his voice a whisper of disbelief. "This cannot be, this is not how it ends." But deep inside he knew the truth. His empire had lived on fear, and fear had betrayed him. It had chosen another, it had chosen the human. The soldiers kept their heads bowed, their weapons laid upon the floor. None dared to look at their former master. Their loyalty had shifted not to crowns, not to chains, but to the figure who stood calm and unshaken. The human raised his eyes slowly, his voice steady. "Your reign is finished. Alien fear no longer belongs to you." The alien master snarled, his pride bleeding into desperation. "You are one man, you cannot rule, you cannot hold an empire. You will be broken like all flesh is broken." The human's expression did not change. His voice calm as stone. "Empires built on fear collapse, but legends endure. Today is not the birth of another empire, it is the birth of a story, and stories last longer than chains." The monster growled low, its massive body shifting forward, its claws striking the ground, dust rising in waves. The alien master stumbled back, his courage stripped away. The soldiers began to whisper, their voices rising. The beast follows him, the human commands fear. The galaxy will hear of this. Their words spread like fire in the wind. Alien master tried to rise, his voice shaking. No, no, I will not fall to a human. He grabbed a shard of his broken weapon, the glowing edge sparking. He rushed forward with a final roar. The human did not move. He did not flinch. He only raised his eyes, calm and sharp. The monster roared. The sound split the air like thunder in one swift motion. Its claw came down, the shard shattered. The alien master was thrown back, crashing against the ruins of his throne. Silence followed, heavy and endless. The soldiers lifted their eyes. Slowly, the human still stood calm, untouched. The monster lowered its head. Beside him, no longer a weapon of chains but a guardian by choice. The alien master coughed, his body broken, his pride gone, his voice a faint whisper. Why do monsters fear you? The human stepped closer, his voice soft but final. Because I am what they cannot break. The alien master's eyes dimmed. His claws fell limp, and with his last breath he whispered the truth that would echo across stars. Even my alien monster feared you, human, but you never flinched. The soldiers rose to their knees, their voices trembling. They did not cheer, they did not shout, they only watched in silence, for they knew they were standing in the presence of something greater than power, greater than empires. They were standing in the presence of a legend. The monster lowered its massive head, bowing fully to the human, its growl soft like thunder far away. The soldiers followed, their weapons laid flat, their heads bent low. The hall became a place of surrender, not to chains but to spirit. The human did not smile, he did not gloat, he only turned, his voice steady. You followed fear, now you follow truth. Remember this, I am not your king, I am not your master, I am only human, and that is enough. Those words spread through the soldiers like fire, and beyond them into the streets of the alien city, into the whispers of messengers, into the ears of rivals and allies alike. The story grew faster than light. Across the galaxy, rulers shook with unease. Whispers carried from planet to planet. A human made the beast bow. The alien master has fallen. The monster obeys another. Fear shifted, and with it the balance of power. The human walked out of the broken hall, the monster beside him, the soldiers following in silence. The sky above the city was dark with smoke, yet for the first time the people watching from the shadows did not tremble at the sight of the beast. They trembled at the calm steps of the man who walked beside it. Children whispered his name, elders repeated the tale, and those who once feared the alien master now spoke of a different fear, not of chains, not of claws, but of a spirit that could not be broken. The human looked up at the stars, his eyes steady, his voice quiet. This is only the beginning. The monster growled softly, its eyes glowing brighter, as if agreeing, as if vowing to walk with him, not as a weapon but as a companion. And so the legend began, not of an empire, not of a throne, but of a truth whispered across galaxies. Truth that no chain could bind, a truth that no master could silence. Even my alien monster feared you, human, but you never flinched.